Hey guys, Jonathan here, and we've made it to just past the midway point of X-Men 97. The series has been so awesome so far, and the only thing I haven't liked is that I've been so busy. I haven't been able to make the weekly showcases like I have for previous Marvel shows, so in today's episode, I wanted to do a mid-season check-in. And basically, I'm going to make some greatest hits characters from all the episodes so far, so rather than go back and do a showcase for every episode, I'm just going to make the main highlights of characters from each episode. Now, of course, there are probably some characters that I didn't make, which you don't see on screen here, so if there's somebody you'd like me to make, drop a comment down below, and maybe when I do the season finale showcase, I can go back and revisit those as well. In any case, let's get into making some X-Men 97 customs, and also, if you haven't seen my first installment, which is where I made the X-Men in their main uniforms, you can check that out on the channel now. I'll link it below, and I'll put a card up right here. So, with that being said, let's get into it. Alright, we'll start off with our main characters first, then we'll go in roughly sequential order throughout the episodes. So with that being said, up first we've got Logan. So to build Logan, I used the face from the Wolverine that came in the CMF Series 2. Pretty standard face and looks pretty good for the show. I used the old Wolverine / vampire hair that's kind of literally perfect for Wolverine. I don't know why they didn't use it in the CMF, to be honest. But then moving down, the torso I used is from the CMF pilot with tan hands, Wolverine claws, and the jean legs from Robin from the Lego Batman movie. Here we've got Scott and Jean Grey, kind of casual, hanging out around the X-Mansion, and I think these turned out pretty good, especially for their simplistic, kind of casual outfits. For Jean, I used some dark khaki legs with a flipped-around torso from Beaker from the Muppets. Then I put tan hands on there. Actually, I think it had tan hands on. Doesn't matter. Anyways, the head and hair come from Claire Dearing from Jurassic World. Then for Cyclops, I used these kind of powder blue legs to show his 90s style jeans, the torso from Squidward from SpongeBob with matching arms, tan hands, the head from Hawkeye from Avengers, and some reddish hair there. And one thing I do want to say is when we look at Cyclops, the minifig itself, he's got the dark brown hair, but I will say if you put this kind of like reddish hair on there, I think it actually looks a little bit more accurate to the show, although I do like this style they gave us in the set a little better. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll keep moving on. Alright, so Magneto has been absolutely awesome this season. I just wish his outfit reflected how awesome he looks, comes across in the show. His outfit is so goofy. Anyways, for this, I used the cape, head, hair, torso, and legs from Magneto from the $85 X-Jet set, but I added the dual-molded arms from Scarlet Witch from the CMF Series 1 to show that he has those gloves on with the bare shoulders. The colors don't match perfectly, but honestly, they're close enough that I actually think it looks pretty good, so I would recommend doing that if you have those pieces lying around. Alright, now we're getting into the customs that have been built from the ground up, and this, of course, is Mr. Sinister. Now, I did break the purist method here, guys. I took a pair of scissors and cut into a red cape to give the, effect that it looks like in the show. Now, of course, in the show, it's actually like blue and red, but red is a little bit more common of a cape color than blue, so I figured, you know what, if you guys were going to do this, it works. It kind of throws back to the comics pretty well, and I like the way it looks in execution. I used dark blue legs with red hips, the flipped around torso from the Bricktober Infinity War version of the Winter Soldier with dark blue arms and hands, the handcuff method where you take a pair of scissors and cut the chain off between handcuffs, then put them back on with a little bit of red/pink Sharpie on there to tie the colors together. We already talked about the cape. We've got this neck piece cowl here that's come in several places, but probably most notably the Zombie Hunter Spider-Man. Speaking of Spider-Man, the head comes from Morbius from the Miles Morales car chase set, and I gave him some flat top black hair to tie it all together. Here we've got the Goblin Queen, which I really like the look of. And if you look at the Goblin Queen in the show, she's kind of got that low-cut top, and Lego's never going to make a piece like that. So the next best thing I thought to use was the torso from Black Cat from the Daily Bugle. Of course, we've got black arms with tan hands on there with all black legs, a little power blast in her hand, just like the Marvel Legends figure has. Then I actually used two capes. On the inside, we've got that short red and black cape from Jafar from the Lego Disney collectible minifig series. Then on the outside, we've got this disheveled cape, which has come in a lot of places like Dementors and things like that, and I really like the way that that looks. The head comes from Bellatrix from the Lego Harry Potter CMF, and the hair comes from Ariel from the Lego Disney Princesses line, which I think actually lends pretty well to the cartoonish look that she has in the show. Alright, so things got a little nuts while building Mojo. This was a lot of fun to put together, and really the base that you're going to need is, I don't know what you would call it, kind of like that roundish Lego piece that has all these bars on there that you can clip the droid legs onto, because of course that's how we're going to have Mojo walk around. Now his skin tone in the show is a little closer to like Emperor Palpatine's skin tone, which I think the Palpatine head would have worked. However, that Palpatine skin tone is not a very common brick color, so I used yellow here to just go ahead and show what you could do. And of course you could see that we've got two 1x1 jumper plates in the center there, a L-shaped bracket that has studs facing this way, then a 1x2 plate, this kind of, I don't know what you would call that. It's not like a cheese slope, but I used this rounded piece for his belly, then two 1x2 plates right there to elevate the minifig torso just high enough that the arms sit above his belly, and then really just kind of any dastardly yellow head that you could add. Once again, I think you could honestly even add Palpatine's head here and that would be fine, but I didn't want to break up the, color scheme being what it was. Then you could see how I built the technical piece, I don't know how to word these things, that connects to his brain. And of course we've got two different of these like Exoforce droid style arms, and then a T-piece here with this piece that sits right up along his back for support, and all in all it looks pretty good. Mojo is not a very easy character to make in Lego, but I'm very happy with the way this turned out, all things considered. Alright, so I made Nightcrawler a long time ago on the channel, and of course we're going to revisit how to make him now. The legs come from Black Cat or the Punisher from the Daily Bugle. I gave him one of the Na'vi tails from Avatar, but I used a Sharpie to color in all the blue around the hips so that when you're looking at it here, it just looks like the tail is, coming out of the bottom of his spine rather than having like a blue line right at the hip line. Then for the torso, I used the old red and black Nightwing torso with the black arms and white hands. We've got this cool little piece here for the shoulder. I think that came from Ninjago if memory serves correctly, but also from the Monkey King character from the CMF series. The head comes from Blue Beetle from DC, and I gave him some spiky black hair to finish off the look. Up next, we've got Cable from the Remember It episode, and this was really cool to see him in the show. Of course, the dual molded legs with yellow on bottom, blue on top come from the Lego Fun in the City pack. Then the torso is a flipped around Thanos torso from Mighty Micros. I gave him the arm from Winter Soldier from the Infinity War Bricktober pack with some Palpatine colored hands, a bear arm. Then for his shoulder piece here, I went ahead and cut the back bracket off of a Ninjago shoulder piece, but then I put an L-shaped neck bracket on the back with a 1x1 clip to hold his big gun, which of course is just a clone trooper rifle from Star Wars, with this head from Lex Luthor from DC, and some pushed back white hair to pull it all together. It was pretty wild seeing Charles Xavier come back, but also seeing Charles Xavier walk. Now, in a perfect world, I would actually use the torso and legs from Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, but unfortunately, I don't have that, so the next best option would be Beaker from the Muppets CMF line for the torso, and then of course putting dark green legs on there because there are no legs that exist in the same color, so I figure it's kind of like he has a two-piece suit on, and the head comes from Lex Luthor from DC. Here we've got Ronan the Accuser, who is the last person I ever expected to show up in this series, but it turned out really good, and honestly, I think this is one of my better customs I've made in a long time. The hood piece here came on a couple different elves from the Hobbit Lord of the Rings line, but this one came from my collection from Dr. Doom. The head is the new Ronin head from 2024, and I used that because it's a piece that, a lot of you guys probably have, or you could go to the store and buy right now if you really wanted to. His hammer also comes from that same set, but the torso comes from the Power Armor Lex Luthor from many, many years ago, with yellow arms, dark green hands, dark green legs, light green hips. That combo comes from the Hydra Soldier from the Marvel line of sets, and a Batman belt to tie the look together. And finally, we've got Storm in her new outfit look, which looks just absolutely awesome in the show, and works pretty well in Lego, because Lego gave us this exact minifigure many, many years ago, I believe in 2014, if I'm not mistaken, and it works great. The only addition I made here is a subtle one, but you can see that there's some printing around her wrists, and those arms come from the character Bumblebee from the Lego DC collectible minifigure series. So, with that being said, let's wrap up this showcase and call it a day. Alright guys, let me know what you thought of this showcase in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and of course, let me know what other X-Men 97 characters you'd like to see me make in future videos. I'll catch you guys on the next video, and until then, build on.